Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is a grammar lesson for beginners and for people who want a revision. We will cover the present simple tense and how to use it to describe daily routine. I've divided this lesson into two videos, so please stay tuned for the second video. Now let's start with part one.
This is the first part of a two-part series. In this lesson, we will learn how to use the present simple to describe a daily routine. We will also learn how to use the negative and question forms. First, let's talk about the present simple tense. When do we use it? We use it to talk about facts and habits. Facts are things we know are true. For example, the sun rises from the east. We all know that the sun rises from the east and sets in the west. Then it is a fact, and I can use the present simple tense to describe it. The second example is she lives in Cairo. Where do you live? We also use the present simple tense to describe habits. They are things that we do every day, every month, or every summer, for example. Like, I play tennis every weekend. Or they take the bus to work. So this is something I am used to doing. Yeah, every weekend I go and I play tennis. So it is a habit of mine or a routine of mine. Do you take the bus to work or do you drive? So now we will talk about how to make an affirmative or positive sentence. The present tense is the base form of the verb, like, for example, verb to like, verb to play, verb to eat, or verb to work. I work in London. They play football. But with the third person singular, like he, she, or it, yeah, we have to add an S at the end of the verb. Like, for example, she works in London. I cannot say she work in London. That is incorrect. He plays tennis. But if I use the subject I play tennis. Okay? Now with the negative form, we will need to use a helping verb. This verb is verb to do. Verb to do will help me with my negative sentences. So if I want to create a negative sentence, I will add verb to do, and attached to verb to do will be not. And then the original verb will stay the same. For example, I like tennis. This is a positive or affirmative sentence. Yes, I like tennis. If I want to change it into negative, I will have to first add a verb to do. So I do, and then not. I do not. And then my original verb will stay the same, like I do not like tennis. We can put do and not together and create don't. I don't like tennis. Now let's read some of the examples. I like tennis, but I don't like football. I don't play the piano, but I play the guitar. So the affirmative form of the first part of the sentence is I play the piano. When I changed it into negative, I added do and not to create don't, and then the original verb, which is play. I don't play the piano, but I play the guitar. If I want to change the second part of the sentence into negative, I play the guitar. I don't play the guitar. They don't work at the weekend. Now remember, with the third person singular, she, he, or it, I always add my s. So instead of do, it will be does or doesn't in the negative form. So he doesn't live in Manchester. Doesn't means does not. Doesn't is the short form of does not. She doesn't drive to work. She goes by bus. The question form is similar. We also use verb to do as our helping verb here. But remember, in the question form, the verb comes first before the subject. So we use do and does to make questions with the simple present. We use does for the third person singular, he, she, and it, and do for all the others like I, they, and we. So, do you play the piano? The affirmative sentence would be I play the piano. So I use here verb to do as my helping verb, and I put it before the subject because this is what we do with questions. We switch positions. So the verb first, do, and then the subject, you, and then my original verb, play, and the rest of the question. Do you play the piano? I play the piano. Now the second question is a WH question. This we will have a separate lesson for. WH questions are questions that start with where, when, why, how, and so on. Usually I put the WH word first, and then the verb, and then the subject, and the rest of the question. Where do you live? I live in London. Okay. Does Jack play football? Who lives in Cairo? Okay, so is everything clear so far? Do you know how to create sentences and questions in the present simple? And do you know when to use it? Okay, very good. Let's do some exercises. So what you need to do is choose the correct verb. We sometimes read or reads books. We sometimes read books. Very good. They don't or doesn't wash the car every weekend. They don't wash the car. This is a negative sentence. When do or does he finish school? When does he finish school? Very good, because this is he, so we have to add es at the end, and also it is a question. Okay, the next exercise, we have 3 positive or affirmative sentences, and what you need to do is change them into negative. My father makes breakfast every morning. My father doesn't make breakfast every morning. Be careful that the verb goes back to its original form. So my father doesn't make, not makes, breakfast every morning. We are 11 years old. Now be careful here. The only exception to the rule, the only verb that is strong enough and does not need help from verb to do is verb to be. We are 11 years old. We are not 11 years old. I speak Italian. I don't speak Italian is the negative form. Very good. Okay, this is the end of the first part. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.